In 79 AD, the eruption of Mount Vesuvius buried the remain town of Herculaneum under 20 meters of volcanic ash. Inside, one villa's library sat hundreds of papyrus scrolls, carbonized by the heat, blackened, brittle, and for nearly 2,000 years unreadable. They survived precisely because they were never opened again. On June 25th, 2026, that changed. Researchers announced they had read one of these scrolls completely, from beginning to end, without unrolling a single layer of it. For for 2 centuries, the only way to read a Herculaneum scroll was to attempt to physically unroll it, a process that, given the extreme fragility of the carbonized papyrus, destroyed a significant fraction of the text with every attempt, sometimes destroying the entire scroll outright. This left researchers with a genuine cruel bargain. The scrolls survived the eruption specifically by staying sealed. By reading them the traditional way meant unmaking that survival. The alternative approach, pioneered over 2 decades by University of Kentucky computer scientist Brent Seals, uses X-ray computed tomography to scan a sealed scroll in extraordinarily 3-dimensional detail, producing a dense volume of tiny data points or voxels representing the scroll's internal structure without physically touching it. The genuinely hard problem isn't the scanning, it is what comes after virtually tracing and flattering the scroll's tightly wound, often torn and compressed internal surface into a readable 2-dimensional sheet, then detecting carbon-based ink that is to X-rays nearly indistinguishable from the carbonized papyrus it sits on. The scroll in question, designated PHERC 1667, yielded approximately 1.5 meters of continuous text across roughly 20 columns, a complete 2nd century BC philosophical treatise. The team confirmed it as previously unknown book by Philodemus, an Epicurean philosopher, specifically Book 8 of his work on the gods, containing extended philosophical passages on ethics, impulse, and human behavior that no scholar alive had ever read. The breakthrough didn't come from a single lab working in isolation. In 2023, Seals partnered with technology entrepreneurs Nat Friedman and Daniel Grass to launch the Vesuvius Challenge, an open global competition offering cash prizes for anyone who could improve on the virtual unwrapping and ink detection pipeline, with the underlying scan data and software released publicly. The original $200,000 prize pool grew through contributions from more than 30 individual donors to over $1 million for the first team to read a substantial passage, a target claimed within roughly a year. The human story behind this breakthrough is worth telling in more detail because it illustrates exactly what an open global competition can surface that a closed academic lab can't. In October 2023, 21-year-old Luke Ferriter, at the time a SpaceX intern and college student from Nebraska, became the first person in the competition to identify a complete readable word inside a sealed scroll, the Greek word for purple, referring to purple dye or cloth. Yusuf Nader, an Egyptian biorobotics graduate student based in Berlin, placed a close second, and the two, along with Swiss robotics student Julian Schilliger, went on to lead the team that claimed the full grand prize in February 2024. What happened next is, by academic standards, unusual. Several of the contest's winning contestants were subsequently hired directly onto the core research team, meaning the very people who cracked the earliest pieces of the puzzle as outside competitors are now the ones who completed the full scroll in 2026. It is worth being clear-eyed about the scale of what remains. Hundreds of additional scrolls from the same Vela library remain sealed and unread, and archaeologists suspect the Vela dye papyri, where they were originally found, may contain an even larger still-buried library beneath its unexcavated lower levels. The Vesuvius challenge has already announced its next major target, a $2 million grand prize running through 2027, specifically for reading multiple complete scrolls rather than just one. Alongside an open, unsolved technical problem, the team has explicitly flagged fully automating the segmentation process that currently still requires significant human-guided effort, particularly where papyrus sheets are densely packed or torn. The significance here extends well past recovering a single ancient philosophical treatise. However, genuinely valuable, that recovery is on its own terms. The Herculaneum library is the only intact library to survive from classical antiquity. Everything else scholars know about ancient literature comes from copies made and recopied over centuries, with the vast majority of ancient texts lost entirely. A validated, scalable method for reading these scrolls without opening them means, for the first time in 2,000 years, a plausible path to recovering genuinely lost portions of classical literature and philosophy at meaningful scale, rather than the occasional isolated fragment. There is a phrase worth sitting with from the researchers themselves. This is entropy, temporarily reversed, a library sealed by catastrophe, silent for 2,000 years, is speaking again, not because anyone found a clever way around the ash, but because a global open competition of scientists, students, and SpaceX in turn methodically, patiently built the tools to listen through it. Thank you so much for your presence. Hopefully you have enjoyed this as much as I have done, and I'm really looking forward to welcome you in the next deep dive. Please let me know your opinions, your feedback. If you have a certain topic in mind that you'd like me to deep dive on or to discuss in details, please let me know in the comments. Make sure I will read your comments genuinely with genuine interest, and I will go through them one by one. Don't expect that you're going to receive an AI regenerated responses or anything of that direction. I value your feedback, I value your interaction, your contribution, and make sure that that's what I'm trying to build here is a scientific community where you have the opportunity to engage and exchange ideas and philosophies, and that never going to happen without you actively participating and being an active part of this community. I'm really looking forward to your contribution, and I'm delighted to hear from you your questions, your feedback, your reflection, what you have learned, what you have found mostly engaging, what you resonate with the most. If you have certain topic that you would like to suggest or you'd like me to discuss, please let me know about it as well. And thank you once again for your presence. And I'm looking forward to welcome you in the next deep dive. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Professor Dr. Mohamed Eldera, PhD in mechanical engineering. I have teach technical mechanics at various prominent universities across the globe, and really looking forward to perhaps teach you something or to enlighten an area of you in your mind or to drive your passion in a certain direction or recommend you literature or guide you in your journey. Please let me know your expertise, your previous experiences. Perhaps there are areas where I can directly support you, where I could give you guidance. Doesn't have to be in my particular area of specialization. Of course, I myself believe in expertise and specialization. However, there are so many areas that I could support you in, and I could drive you and guide you through in areas that doesn't necessarily has a lot to do with my specialization or area of expertise. Really looking forward to your interactions, and thanks again for being present. See you in the next lecture. Till then.